All right, welcome back. Jonathan Clarke here, joined live on the phone by Richard Reed Parry of Montreal's Grammy-nominated Arcade Fire. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining us on the show. And I'm sensing there is somewhat of a spiritual slant on this new album, as it is called, number one, it's called Neon Bible. And I guess some of the album was recorded in a church or a cathedral, right?
Yeah, almost entirely. Not like in any super literally intended way, I guess. Just kind of, we found a church that seemed like an amazing place to record, just kind of inspiring and with kind of maybe more character and more of a history than your average recording studio. And then we had actually ended up using a couple of churches to record organs in. So,
well, the band just had 3 sellout shows, including one at Radio City Music Hall, and the band has, by my count, like 8 members, which is a pretty big band already. And you yourself, I know you play keyboards, upright bass, the Celeste. But when you go and see Arcade Fire, you'll hear so many instruments like violin, viola, cello, xylophone, French horn, hurdy-gurdy, and harp, to name just a few, which sounds like a whole lot of fun to me, actually. But where did the whole diverse instrumentation idea come from?
Again, it wasn't like really an intended thing, like not something that we planned or talked about. It's just something that has sort of come naturally to the core members. This is a band that kind of has a core, and then we play with more people live, so it's expanded when you see it live.
Yeah.
But just like playing, like being interested in different kinds of music from, all different time periods and all kinds of contemporary music and instruments and sounds kind of is something that just comes naturally to, I think, a lot of us. And so that just naturally makes its way into what we're doing. What
kind of bands did you guys listen to growing up that maybe sort of pointed you in that direction with all this multi-instrumentation?
There's just like a depth of appreciation for many different kinds of music. Like I actually spend less time listening to other rock bands than listening to like classical music.
Right.
It's just like really all kinds of different things. And it's more out of that than really being like, oh, we want to be like this, that band.
But I think sometimes as a songwriter and as a performer, you the things that you listen to maybe rub off onto you whether you know it or not, and it comes out something different, obviously, because it's you doing it. Yeah.
I would say we definitely like all have an appreciation for like a deep appreciation for like the Beatles and for Motown, and both of those kind of as musical institutions really just kind of used whatever it took to make something sound interesting and exciting and beautiful,
Well, we're speaking with Richard Reed Parry from Montreal's Arcade Fire here on Q1043's Out of the Box. I know David Bowie is a big fan of you guys. How did you guys come to cross paths with Mr. Bowie?
He somehow got a hold of our record, and I guess he just like really was taken with it, and he started writing about it on his blog, on his website.
Yeah.
And I guess just word about that sort of got out, and then he turned up at a couple of our shows in New York, and one of which we'd heard through the grapevine. People were like, "Oh, David Bowie's upstairs," when we played at the Bowery Ballroom.
Uh-huh.
And then the next time we played in town in New York, he came up and introduced himself with Tony Visconti, and it was like really nice. Just like, "Oh, hey, wow."
There he is.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. And then he kind of approached us about doing some stuff together, and that ended up happening.
Well, I think these last couple gigs you did in New York were part of his Highline Music Festival, right?
Yeah, the last one at Radio City.
Well, Neon Bible is the new album from Arcade Fire. Richard, talk about the inspiration of this great song on here called Keep the Car Running.
I mean, hopefully it sort of speaks for itself, but sort of fear. Yeah, it's sort of about fear.
Q1043's Out of the Box. I'm Jonathan Clarke on the phone with the band's Richard Reed Parry. And Richard, I don't know how big Time magazine is in Canada, but you make the cover of Time in America. It's like really huge. So I got to ask you, what was your reaction when you saw your face and your band on the cover of Time in Canada?
We were sort of surprised because we actually didn't plan on doing that, and they just kind of slapped a photo of us from something else on there.
Right.
And decided to, put it out like that.
Yeah.
And so we were sort of surprised, and we were like, oh, God, they used those photos, those awful, awful photos. I don't know. I guess I realized that now people in dentist offices all across Canada would know who our band was.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty impressive to me, and it looks like you're on tour pretty much the whole summer. You guys did some shows with U2 as well, and actually jammed with them on stage at one point. That must have been kind of surreal.
Definitely surreal.
Fun?
Yeah, it was fun. It was like sort of big in arena rock shows.
Arcade Fire nominated for a Grammy for your song "Cold Wind." It was off the last album for Best Song Written or Used on a TV Show. And the TV show was 6 Feet Under on HBO here in America. I'm always curious what it's like for an artist to hear and see their songs used in a TV show.
We kind of got a lot of requests to use songs in different TV shows and movies and things on the last record, and we made like a specific kind of decision as a group to not license any of the songs to TV shows or movies or ads or anything like that. Any of the songs on Funeral, but then I was really into 6 Feet Under and kind of got the rest of the band into it at a certain point.
Yeah.
And we were like, but if 6 Feet Under ever wanted to use a song, like that's maybe the one show that we would think about it for.
I hear you.
And then lo and behold, they kind of asked us if we would write a song for the show, and then later they ended up using Rebellion in a scene in a later episode. It felt really good. It felt like it really fit. Like it was kind of a nice fit in the end. Like
that's what I think that you'd want that as the writer. It'd be like because
it's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to gauge, like whether it's actually going to be a fit. It's kind of have a little bit of blind faith,
right?
And the two things are going to meld together. I mean, you can plan a little bit and think about if at least they're correlated, but you never know how it's going to fit until you see it up there.
The extreme example, of course, is Layla in Goodfellas. And, it's like, well, I never thought that song would work, but, for some reason it does,
Yeah, fix it somewhere else.
Jonathan Clarke live on the phone with Richard Reed Parry from Arcade Fire, the new album called Neon Bible. And let's give away some copies of this great new CD, courtesy of Merge Records. First three callers on the toll-free listener line right now, 1-888-872-1043. Each get a copy of this great new CD from Arcade Fire. So good luck. Richard, there's a beautiful song on here I've been playing called Intervention. Talk about the meaning or the inspiration for that song.
Many things. Leadership, false leadership, people assuming power over other people, maybe wrongly so, maybe not.
Well, for more info on Arcade Fire, go to Q1043.com, keywords out of the box, and Richard Reed Parry from Arcade Fire. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
You're welcome.
Hopefully we'll see the band back in New York very soon.
Great. Yeah, we love it there.
Out of the box on Q1043.